Here is standing for any comment. So we have to work both ways. I'm sure everybody clear on that. You have to speak up to leave the room. We have a recall here, you want to be able to have everything said. That's good, Mr. William. And for the record, basically, I want to make it clear because it appeared Mrs. Fox believed that the board works for her. I told Mrs. Fox a week ago she need to have an attorney to represent her position since we are no tangled between according to the law that the attorney general advises and represents the board and her in any controversy, whereas she was in court, and I tell her she needed to have an attorney, and when we went in court that day, I don't see her having an attorney representing the board position most as well. Because basically, we had a situation where the attorney general was representing the governor's position along with the attorney position, and the board didn't have no representation because no time Mrs. Fox told us or had any meeting with us on what she was trying to do. It was the attorney who's supposed to by law represent the board. So we didn't have no consult. Again, you might speak, everybody went down to speak, but none of them want today. I also noted too that the attorney Rome made it clear to the judge that she saw St. Thomas with the subpoenas and she haven't gotten up to St. Goya. Up to now, Mrs. Fox haven't shown or given any document. I don't even remember he got it, but I haven't received any. Secondly, I instructed Mrs. Fox, and we have this meeting being called because I came here and I think made it clear to Mrs. Fox that if Mrs. Dr. Coverdale or Coverdale was limit is walking to the St. Thomas district, then she remains there and not to make their appearance in here to interfere or supervise anybody who works in the St. Thomas. I came here and it was Friday or Thursday, and when I went back there, I meet Dr. Coverdale to the computer, change the wrong documentation. I haven't actually, I just said good morning. When I checked, she was there changing names and numbers and language in the ballot. I don't know, I tried to get Ms. Fox place here. She gave me when she's working for the system. So now she changed her position for the system and they moved to the system again. But that's how she wanted to back it again. But I told her we need her here to explain to all of us how we proceeding and how she must understand that under the Virgin's code, they haven't changed that far. She works for the board, and anything she's doing under supervision of the board and directing the board, we need to have some policy. I had Mr. Carroll over the weekend. I told him to make a reservation for Mrs. Fox to be here this afternoon so we can start the meeting. And he didn't make a reservation for to reach St. Thomas 1640, which is military time, and that means 4:30. I just received a copy this afternoon. I came here. So Mrs. Fox is telling us, for me really, that she have a St. Thomas meeting St. Thomas site here. I'm not satisfied with that excuse. There's a meeting, we need to know what kind of meeting Mrs. Fox who works for us having St. Thomas. We have a situation right here we have to address as it relates to two court orders. One is mandatory and one has a temporary position. And when I came here, I noticed that she had moved and inserted Mrs. Hanson's name in the station number 10. While we are waiting in this case, we don't have a hearing, we didn't have one, we didn't have representation for the board, or even a hearing in the merits of the case to take in evidence while we're waiting on Judge Lois to make a final decision hearing. Before that, the same day before, I think the Supreme Court struck down the request from the Attorney General for a hearing on some issues that they claimed that they had missed out. The Supreme Court told them that is not the case and denied that. So we're here right now again with a situation where we have a supervisory election. For some reason, she feels that she can do what she wants. And in writing and in questioning, she's not here. So we can't proceed. I know Mrs. Whitaker is responsible and ready to answer the question any one of us might have. So I don't know how we're going to move from here to there. If Mrs. Whitaker can answer the question, Mrs. Fox should be here to answer. And I think we need to make it very clear again. To make Mrs. Fox the deputy and Mr. Terrell understand the work for the board, not for Mrs. Fox. Especially this board, that I'm here, I don't work for the supervisor's election, not the deputies or any employees. So I need to get very clear, the Virgin's code is clear who the supervisor, he or she, respectfully represent when they have the time to do something. Since we have a situation where we're going back and forth over a number and a name on the ballot, I think the right thing for us to do legally is Mrs. Fox to tell us, or meet with the board before she made the decision and tell us what she was going to do. So if she hasn't done that, I don't know Mrs. Fox and she's not here. So I don't know, hold on please. I don't know if Mrs. Whitaker received any information from Mrs. Fox, what kind of means she has in St. Thomas that she can hear. Could you tell us that please?
Good evening. For the record, I am not aware of her, where she is right now. And I'm not even aware of this meeting in St. Thomas. So and as far as information about the ballot, well, Mr. Alexander and I have the same amount of information because we both received the same email, and that's the extent I know about the actual, well, now it's called the sample. She titled the email General Ballot, and attached was the sample ballot, or the sample ballots.
So then she didn't give you any instruction or information related to this discussion?
She has discussed the importance of meeting the PAVA deadline, and that is only this, but I haven't, no official communication, no official email, no official decision, nor have I seen the ESNS requires that the supervisor execute the ballot form, testing for how many ballots need to be ordered. I haven't seen an actual executed form, stating how many ballots will be issued and the timeline for the ordering of the ballots.
I object to the procedure being used. So we have 3 board members wish to address the chair, and we are asking the deputy supervisor to give what I consider to be third-hand information. I respectfully.
You said you give it third-hand information?
Well, she's saying what somebody else is saying.
Well, she
may I finish?
Sure.
I respectfully request that the chair recognize the members of this board so they could proceed with the agenda that you call the emergency meeting.
Well, we're going to do that, but I'm saying in the absence of Mrs. Fox, the supervisor election under original law, in the absence of the supervisor here, his or her deputy responds to question, and that's why I'm getting information from Mrs. Fox. From Mrs. Whitaker to tell us what she knows about what Mrs. Fox is not here and what Mrs. Fox passed on to her before she left. And I think it's appropriate that we get the information so we can know why the reason for Mrs. Fox is saying she have a meeting in St. Thomas, and we don't know what kind of meeting. There's no exigency in St. Thomas for Mrs. Fox to be there because it is St. Croix. You have a question, a controversy in the court. So whether it is the district court, the Supreme Court, or even the Superior Court of Virginia. So I'm saying this for Ross, let me finish. I'm going to let everybody say what I want to say. Is that we need to ascertain why Mrs. Fox is not here since she worked for the board. If some of the members say she don't work for the board,